All right, guys, so today we're going to be breaking down the CDL Major 1 tournament. We have the bracket up on screen, but I'm with a special guest, Brian Stats from Twitter. Be sure to check him out. Links are down below. Follow him for the best CDL stats, tweets about old history, what's going on in the CDL right now. If you're a fan of CDL, he's a must follow on Twitter, so links are down below. I have my bracket here, and then we have his bracket as well, and we're going to pretty much go through the entire tournament, go through our picks, our predictions, and see who we think's going to win this tournament here. We probably will have some differences, some similarities as well in our picks, but let's break this down. We have Brian on the Discord call. Say hello.
How's it going, everyone? Thanks for having me back on here. Excited to break down a little bit of COD.
Yeah, so let's get straight into this. We have FaZe LAG first match. FaZe DoorDash challenge. There's no way LAG wins. I mean, they took them close in the first league match they played together, right? LAG had a close hard point. They won the search, but FaZe can close out the matches better than pretty much any team in the CDL right now. So I don't think LAG is really gonna, be a huge threat to them. Although, it is LAN and anything could happen. But the problem is FaZe is also good on LAN. As much as they're good on LAN, they're really good on LAN. So I just can't see any other match winner being FaZe. You know what I mean? It's gotta be FaZe. LAG could have a close match potentially, but for the most part, if you're a betting man, you pick FaZe.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll say about LAG is they've certainly overperformed. I think they exceeded
expectations for sure. Yeah.
This stage, I mean, we talked about this was the last team to form, I believe. They didn't form until a couple weeks after the game dropped, so we didn't really have expectations. Estriel was not as well known, and I don't know, it was sort of a question mark, getting rid of Joe Deceives, keeping Assault, doing that whole thing. But although LAG overperformed, unfortunately, they match up against FaZe in round one. FaZe is going to take it. I'd say it's going to be 3-0. This team, I mean, they're 7-0 with the addition of Draza. They look incredible.
Yeah, there's
they
no
beat
way.
OPTIC for the first time in a long time. I mean, we're talking about a legitimate contender to win this tournament. I think a lot of people have them winning. So, unfortunate for LAG, their tournament won't be over though. Thankfully, they start in the winners bracket. But yeah, we're going FaZe.
Sure. Let's actually bring them down. Here. They're gonna play the Los Angeles Thieves. Interesting.
Yeah, a little battle.
That will be one of the matches of all time. But we have OPTIC Miami. Look, Miami 3-0'd OPTIC. Wasn't close. I still think overall OPTIC is the better team. We haven't really seen Heretics play on LAN. I mean, some of the players played back during BO4, but we haven't really seen them as a full squad on LAN, so we don't know how they're going to play. OPTIC, we've seen... Well, actually, this OPTIC team we haven't seen. We've seen all the individual players, though, on LAN last year. The problem is, though, Vickle did go crazy against OPTIC that map 1, Major 5, right? It was winners round 1 on Fortress Hardpoint. Vickle had a Hardpoint Masterclass, and then Florida ended up 3-0ing them to send them to the losers bracket. Could something like that happen again? Easily possible, but I'm still going to say the overall better team, the safer pick, 60-40, maybe 65-35, OPTIC will win this match. But look, it could be close, and Miami could easily take the dub here. It's definitely possible.
I mean, yeah, one big thing about the CDL that we've talked about and I've posted about is this OPTIC versus Florida and now OPTIC versus Miami rivalry. The Mutineers have just had OPTIC's number with teams that really shouldn't have competed with some of the rosters that OPTIC's been able to build the last couple of years. So, but Miami got a 3-0 win again. Now they're 10-9 against OPTIC as a career head-to-head, the Miami/Florida. So it's a real curse. But with that being said, I just have really high expectations for this OPTIC team. I think Kenny's been playing phenomenal. He wasn't getting a lot of respect after he got picked up. People think it should have been Sib. There were other names thrown out there. Kenny, I don't think was expected. And he's just played incredible despite this past week not being good for OPTIC. That's another important thing to mention. They did not show up this week, but
yeah, that wasn't on Kenny though. I feel like Kenny's been their best player, honestly.
Not on Kenny. Yeah. And I think Shotzi's been looking really good, better than he did last year, in my opinion. I think Pred's kept up his momentum. Dashy's looking good. So despite OPTIC's really bad week, I have high expectations for them this major, and I have them beating Miami as well.
Okay, let me bring Miami down here. It's gonna be Miami and Vegas. Another that's a bathroom break match right there. I'll be in the venue, getting a hot dog, whatever they sold last year in the MGM. But no, I mean it might still be good. But Toronto, Seattle. Man, I wanted to like Seattle. I'm a big Hugh guy. Like I remember watching him back. I think it was, oh man, UMG something. It was the finals of an AEW tournament. It was Optic and Stunner, and Hook was on that squad, right? And he was almost, they almost beat him. And I remember Orlando. I was like 14, 15 years old watching that, big Optic fan. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. Then they won, obviously, but still, it was close. So Hook's been the GOAT for a while. Not the best, past couple years, I guess. Been up and down. So I just like him as a like I want to see him succeed. But Toronto's just way too good. I mean, online, Toronto smoked them. I think on LAN, Scrap's going to be unbelievable. All these players on Toronto, so consistent, so good. There's no way they don't win. And if they don't win, that would be a pretty big upset, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, Boston Breach definitely doesn't want Toronto to lose that first match.
Definitely
That would
not.
be
That's
a
tough.
tough losers round one for them. So, yeah, I mean, I think you hit on some really good points. One thing I want to mention was Illy started off this stage incredible.
True.
And Seattle started off 3-0. They were the first team, I believe, to start off to go 3-0. And
well, not just Illy
really
in the offseason too. Illy would, bro, the whole offseason, Illy was going crazy. Like we thought he was coming really diffy. And he did start off like that, but
he was winning
every
all the,
BO3 tournament, every
yeah. So this dude made some money during the offseason. There's no doubt about that. And then he signs the bag with Seattle. So good things for Illy. I'm happy that he bounced back after getting dropped, I guess, or benched from Optic after Major 2 last year. But yeah, man, I mean, I don't know what else to say besides Toronto's looked incredible. They obviously beat New York, the reigning defending champions who were undefeated. This Ultra team is just firing on all cylinders. Kleenex is looking incredible. Insight is having a bounce back year. Yeah, I'm going Toronto. It sucks for Seattle because, like I said, they started off so hot and they looked so good. 3 world champions on this team, but at the end of the day, they're going against a red hot Toronto team. And is the upset possible? I would say this has the best upset value in winners round 1. Seattle stealing a series from Toronto, but yeah, we're going Toronto here as well.
I would say best upset potential is Miami, Texas still. But yeah, I could easily see Seattle. I mean, look, Seattle could turn up on land. You never know. Although I feel like these players, Illy, Hook especially, when we saw them on Optic, they're kind of shaky on land. I don't know what it is. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. New York Rocker. I mean, look, New York, they just won champs. Sib has been going crazy. Hydra's still really good. Kiz and Skies are still great. They have been I don't know if it's shaky, but their matches are always pretty close for whatever reason. They got smoked by Toronto, but they're still really good. And I think on land, they should get this dub here. And Rocker has been pretty garbage, honestly, besides for this last weekend of matches. And when it comes down to it, like, if you look at the potential for a player to pop off, I don't really see that as much in Rocker besides for, like, Lins as I do in any 4 of the New York players. So, again, I would say New York is a pretty safe bet here.
Yeah, this is quite the mismatch here. I mean, Rocker, I don't think a lot of people were expecting that they were going to slide into the 6th seed, but it happened, and they did. Accuracy, I guess, going against his old Subliners team from way back in Modern Warfare. But that's not going to be the comeback story that Accuracy fans, I guess, or Rocker fans would want. I don't see it happening. I see Subliners winning. I saw them beating Toronto. So when they lost to Toronto, that shocked me. They went to map 5 versus Boston, almost lost that series. So Subliners need to work out a couple kinks. But overall, I think they looked pretty dominant, even with Sib underperforming the first few weeks. And then he bounced back. But yeah, New York is just a red hot team. I mean, in general, we've talked about it. The skill gap this season is more prevalent than, I believe, any other CDL season, where we have a rock solid top 4. And then there's some sleepers in there. There's the Miamis.
Besides for Cold War.
The Seattles. Yeah, Cold War was kind of
I mean, Cold War is just crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cold War was all. Yeah, that was just the Atlanta show, and
I don't know
Toronto
how
was
they
the
lost that
second best.
major. I didn't watch that last major. I don't know what happened there, honestly, but they really should have.
Yeah, man. I mean, but no. So I still think the league's in a great spot right now with these
Yeah.
4 juggernaut teams, and this is going to be a really exciting tournament. But yeah, this winner's round 1. I don't think you'll see much variance elsewhere about the winners of these matchups. I think we nailed it. I mean, I'm not surprised. We have the same exact bracket right now.
All right, but for the losers matches here, let's run through this relatively quickly. I mean, nothing too spectacular. LAG Thieves. LAG started off hot. They seem to be the better hardpoint team. Thieves had a pretty good weekend. Cammy really turned up. Even Joe Deceives, pretty good as well. I kind of want to pick Thieves here, honestly. Just they have more experience too. I feel like they could pull this out. This is a close match. It could go either way, of course. It's not a strong opinion, but I would just say Thieves.
Yeah, man. I mean, Battle of LA, that's the storyline itself. And we know LAG's been dominating the Battle of LA. But, 5 for 5, I guess. We have the same exact bracket. We didn't discuss our winners beforehand. So this is, we're hearing from each
Yeah,
other
we're not
for the
scripting this
first time,
here, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm picking Thieves as well for similar reasons you just mentioned. I just think the way this team was built, they were built maybe not necessarily to contend for championships, but a lot of people thought Thieves were going to be in that top 6, maybe top 8, but in the conversation for, okay, besides the top 4, who are the other teams that could be a dark horse, if you will? Boston's been brought up, Seattle's been brought up. I mean, Miami's proved himself, but let's talk about the Thieves. I mean, I think a lot of people had high expectations. Ghosty made it to 2 finals last year. They have Cammy, he's been to a champs grand finals. I think Thieves is going to beat the Gorillas as well. I think Gorillas overperformed this last week at the stage, or really this stage in general. I mean, it's a 50-50, man. But
It is,
I'm
at the
going
end of the
Thieves.
day. Miami, Vegas. There's no way Miami doesn't win this, right? Like, Vegas has shown some signs of life. Took OPTIC, where they were up 2-0, right? And then, they got reverse swept. But still, they look good. Even some hard points. Even against FaZe, I think that first hard point, they looked decent. But they just can't close out those matches. And they're not really good at S&D. I can't see them beating Miami. But, again, you never know. One of these matches will be an upset. There's going to be upsets here that we just can't predict. But this, again, 9 times out of 10, Miami should win this.
Yeah, with Legion, they haven't been playing well. Obviously, we've all seen it, but I'm just a little disappointed because Nero started off the season just like Illy. Nero started off the season super hot. This guy was the 30 bomb king of the first week, and I was so excited to see that because Nero is just somebody who's had so much potential. He was on Breach. He got benched, which was a little controversial. You could argue he definitely wasn't the worst player on that Breach team at any period in their existence. So he got benched. He found his way on this Vegas squad. They have Attach, who I'm still super high on. Just one of the most consistent players
he played good recently.
in the history of Yeah, he's been playing real good recently. He's great this season. He's really been great every season, to be honest. And I root for the OGs, and Attach, yeah, he's an OG at this point. Ghost was his rookie year, so he's in year 11 now. Unfortunately, they didn't have a good stretch of matches. I mean, I could see this team making a roster change. I think they're going to be one of the teams that changes after this major. They go against Miami. Again, I would say the 5th best team in the league right now. I'm picking Miami.
Let's do it. Miami. Seattle, Boston, losers, round 1. I mean, look, it's a situation.
This should be a solid match.
Yeah, really solid. This one I'll actually watch. I mean, I'm gonna be in the venue. I'm gonna watch the matches. Let me not kid myself.
Yeah,
but this one I'll be attentive for. You know what I mean? This should be good. I gotta say Boston. I feel like they're at their home major. They don't want to lose. Priest is trying to get that New York revenge match at some point, right? And you have experienced players and Slasher, Priest as well. I feel like they should win, and I think right now they're doing pretty well. They took New York to a close map 5. They should beat this one. They should beat Seattle for the most part. Although Seattle, again, Depends on how they play on land. I just haven't seen them yet. I don't know. They haven't been playing well, but maybe they turn up on land so they can make a mini losers run. Who knows? But for the most part, I gotta be a little more confident in Boston, at least at this point in time.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they get that home buff.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be cheering for them too.
Here, so...
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it, but I
then,
don't know.
I was like, we're finally gonna have a different pick, but
yeah,
no. Come on, dude. I also happen to be from Boston, so I mean, I can't. But no bias aside, I don't see them losing this round one. Slasher clutches up when he needs to. I mean, Priest he's won the most lands in the CDL since the CDL's inception.
True,
he's
yeah,
won the most lands. So accomplishments, wins are there, and I'm not saying they're gonna win the tournament, obviously, but yeah, I mean, they match up against Surge. This is gonna be a very close match. I think it's gonna be map 5, no doubt.
Yeah.
But Snoopy looks incredible. Capsule looks incredible, and that's gonna be the difference for me. It's those SMGs. I genuinely think Snoopy and Capsule at their peak can compete with some of the best SMG duos in the league. So, you know, matching them up versus Hook and Abuza, well, really, we've seen like a 3AR meta, but I think in the SMG front, Boston has the advantage, and I'm going Boston. All right.
Last one here.
Last lose round 1.
Rocker, Carolina. I mean, this is just clay cheese. I'm gonna go Carolina. Look, I think, I don't know who posted this, but it was the odds of a team winning the major, and Carolina had by far the worst odds, like, imaginable, which I understand, but Clay, he has the drive, he has the passion like no other, and Fellow, you got you got maybe similar stats than, from what we saw with GodRx too, okay, and people are clowning on him. They replaced him with a similar bad player, but Fellow's got the intangibles. He's got the Clay connection from back during the United days. People don't understand what he does, and Fellow's got good comms as well. So I feel like the vibes will be different. I feel like they could easily pull out a win here. Hardpoint, they're pretty good. Rocker's okay at Hardpoint too, actually, but Carolina Hardpoint, if they could figure out Search, it should be a win. Probably 3-2, probably close, but I think it's definitely possible they win. Although Rocker, again, could easily win too. I mean, because Carolina, not the best team as we've seen. So it all depends on how they show up, but I just have faith in them. So I'm going to go Carolina.
Yeah, I don't think Carolina is supposed to win this series. I would guess that the betting odds are going to be in Rocker's favor, but I'm not betting against Clay. I mean, I'm not betting on this match, but I'm not betting against Clay. I think with the Royal Raven, I mean, this is like a different team pretty much. It's tough to even judge them because now they got TJ filling in, and they got Fellow now. Well, Fellow's the full-time replacement. TJ is still temporary as of now.
He's probably going to be the full-time. Yeah.
I think he'll probably be the full-time, judging how they perform. If they get bounced out top 12, I could see them just trying it with Real again, and hopefully his visa situation is figured out, because they have been practicing with him for months at this point, so that can't get understated. These teams have been screaming since the game dropped. TJ just got added a week ago.
Yeah, but they were practicing with Real, no offense, and what were the results? You know what I mean? Like, all that practice and didn't lead to much.
Well, that's the thing. Real hasn't been playing great. GodRx wasn't playing great.
Was he overseas the whole time he was playing? Or I forgot, like...
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's the issue why he can't make it to the major. Yeah. So who knows the ping issue and everything he was dealing with. So there's a lot of adversity for this Carolina team. But I don't want to see Clay drop out of the top 12. I also do think this is a very winnable matchup. I mean, we talked about Minnesota a bit ago. They snuck into the 6th seed. I think they easily could have started in losers. So I don't really think there's much of a differential between these two teams, except one of them has the 3-time and the 18-time champion. So I'm going but
CLAYSTER. just to run through quickly, if any other team came down, if it was LAG dropping down to play Carolina, LAG probably wins. Miami dropping down, Miami wins. Seattle dropping down, Seattle probably wins. Like, this is their best losers round 1 matchup probably. So I guess good for them, but we'll see.
They need New York to win. They need New York to beat someone.
Which, I mean, if New York loses round 1, it's just clipped. It's just sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. You know what I mean? Who expects that? But I guess Let's do these loser matches since they're already set. Well, I guess
Yep.
the top ones are set too, but we'll just do the losers.
Yeah, that's a duel.
Thieves, Miami. I gotta say Miami too. I feel like, again, we haven't seen them play on LAN as a team, but they seem to be pretty good. Probably, I mean, some people are saying they're the 4th best team, overtaking OPTIC, which if they're in losers and they got beat by OPTIC, maybe not. But I can see the argument, you know what I mean? They're pretty good. I'm going to have to say Miami. If Thieves can make the miracle run, good for them. But Miami just seems to have better teamwork, better, I guess, players. And yeah, they just seem better at every mode, actually. So they should win that match. But another one that could go either way.
Well, technically, seed-wise, they are the 4th. So, I mean,
oh,
you
true,
can
true.
make the argument. So, I mean, technically, they're the 4th seed. OPTIC's the 5th.
Yeah.
But I agree. I'm pretty firm in my opinion. I think Miami right now is the 5th best team, even though that seems ass backwards because they just beat OPTIC. But you can't judge their rankings just based off that one match. I think Thieves is gonna struggle against LAG and beat LAG. So
yeah, if they're barely beating LAG,
Miami,
like, come on.
Yeah, so matching up against Miami is just a much harder matchup. Unfortunately, LAT, they're just not in a position right now to go on a run. I don't see it. If they do, that would be incredible. That would be super noteworthy, but they've been struggling. Miami hasn't been struggling. I don't even really see this series being close if this is the series we get.
And then next one, Carolina, Boston. Look, I was thinking about this. I'm just gonna put Carolina through. Does this make sense? No, it doesn't. But it's what I'm doing, and it's possible because Boston. It's funny. It's actually, I think, what was it? I think on the reverse sweep, Parasite and Aches were talking about this. I think they mentioned it on the flank or something. But Boston has played good in some matches, but they only played good against some of the top teams. Against bottom tier teams, they don't play that good. So if that continues, Carolina maybe could win this. Like, it's definitely, I don't know, it's definitely possible here. And again, Carolina, at least their newfound success, they didn't win their matches, but they looked good on a hard point for some of those maps. If they could win a hard point, if they could win, they probably lose second search, win the third control, and maybe pull out the hard point for the 3-1, or maybe go to map 5 and then somehow just get that search win. Look, I think it's entirely possible. Is it likely? Maybe not, but I'm going Carolina. So, you guys can fight. You guys can fight me on that, Brian.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong, Brian.
I love that. I mean, well, for the OGs who watched the first video I did with you, you picked Legion to go on a run all the way to the finals, I believe.
Yeah, that was, if you guys don't remember, that was back Major 3 MW2 last year. So I had Vegas Legion, Clay again. I think I got them going to top 4, which honestly, if you looked at that losers bracket, I wish I can pull it up right now. It was entirely possible. And even, what was the, I think it was Major 5. Where did they, I think Major 5, they beat Seattle, right? First round, Major 5, losers. And then,
yeah, I'm trying to remember the specifics.
The second match,
I mean, they went on their run.
I think the second match was actually New York. Wait, yeah, I don't know about that, but it's possible. But yeah, you can give me your argument.
I mean, either way. Yeah, I mean, so let me just cut to the chase. I mean, I have Boston Breach winning this. As much as I want Clayster to make the run and have a good placement. Yeah, man, I just got to do it, and it's not
for the OGs.
Boston cheese. It's not the Boston cheese. I mean,
yeah, you started watching in 2021, right? You're not an OG fan, bro.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, nah, I know what Clay is all about, man. I started watching when he was literally on Complexity, so I got to see, my first memory of COD is literally Clayster wearing a Complexity jersey.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's crazy that he's still doing it and playing well as well. He had a 1.10 KD in his last series, so he's still beaming. But Breach, they feel like a team. Those Ravens we talked about, they more so feel like a pickup team because
that's entirely true.
Are a pickup team. Whereas the Breach, they've been locked in for a while. I recall, they set their lineup pretty quick after the top 4 established their lineups. The Boston Breach were the 5th team to sign their players. They locked everyone up pretty early into the off season.
Yeah.
So these guys have been able to build their chem longer. I think they underperformed the first couple weeks, and that really set them back. But I was absolutely expecting them to be a winners bracket team. The fact they're even starting in losers bracket is wild to me. And yeah, I mean, you already moved them, but yeah, so I have Breach continuing their losers bracket run at home, beating Carolina. It's as simple
Yeah,
as that.
I'm a fan of Boston too. Like, I'm a fan of the brand, the team. The major last year was a ton of fun. So, you know, I'm a fan of the players too. You know, don't get it twisted. But I feel like as much as Boston needs it for their major and their standing in the league, I almost think like Clay might need it more. You know, I think he's got so much passion. It would be such a waste for it to just evaporate in a top 8, maybe even top 12 finish. You know what I mean? So I want to see Clay get a little run there going. But entirely possible for Boston to win that for sure. But going up here, winners round 2, FaZe, OPTIC. Another match that, when it comes down to it, could go either way. Historically, OPTIC has won these, but right now FaZe just looks too good. They 3-0'd OPTIC online, and I feel like I don't think it'll be a 3-0 again, but on LAN, I don't see FaZe losing unless OPTIC again goes crazy and they're hot after Miami, and then they just are a different team. They're playing together more. I don't know. We don't have any stinkers from anyone. It's possible, but gotta pick FaZe here. Just have to pick. They just look way too dominant, way too good for me not to pick them.
I mean, yeah, I think that's a super fair pick, but I'll be picking OPTIC in this one personally, and I know I'm gonna get called a whole slew of names or whatever. I don't want this video to get demonetized, so maybe I gotta watch it. But people, you know, at the end of the day, OPTIC has had FaZe's number, and yeah, that was with different rosters in different titles. Some people say that stat's a little overrated because you're talking about different OPTIC teams, different FaZe teams, different titles.
True.
It's like they happen to have been 10-2 in their last 12 matchups, but it was with different teams. At the end of the day, I'm really high on this OPTIC team. I know FaZe just went 7-0. Their tournament doesn't end here, but one of these teams has to win, and I just have a feeling. This OPTIC team, they were built to make a run. So was this FaZe team, but I mean, man, they signed Pred, they signed Kenny. This team was built to make a run, and I'm choosing them.
And they got the crowd cheese as well. When everyone's screaming "Let's go OPTIC," it's different. You're gonna hear the "Let's go OPTIC" vibrations through the desk. FaZe is playing on. Draza's gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Like, but Draza.
At the end of the day,
to be fair, Draza, he's embracing that villain role. That might be a buff for him. It's like, what is probably comparable to like Aches back in the day. Everyone would roast him and, you know, root against him at LANs, but he would still somehow get that dub. You know what I mean? But next one here, Toronto, New York. Toronto's the better team. I'm just going to keep it simple there. I think New York could play really well. They could have an upset win. I would think it's an upset win if New York wins, because for the most part, people do think Toronto's the better team, and they've shown that. Although Boston 3-0 Toronto, which is interesting. But other than that, Toronto, I feel like is just a more well-balanced team. But Sib has that pop-off potential too. Hydra's also, again, still could be maybe one of the best players in the game, probably. Maybe the best player still. So it's a close match. It's not hard to predict. I mean, it is hard to predict, I guess, but I still think an easy prediction, at least based on what we're seeing right now, is Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think you're making fair points. But I'm gonna be going. I'm gonna be going New York for this one. Actually, I'm picking New York, and it's a similar thing. Like, COD is very 50-50. We saw what happened this last week. We saw FaZe beat OPTIC, and we saw Ultra beat Subliners. We literally just got these two matchups a week ago, and we're getting them again. So, you know, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that both of the teams that lost their matchups this past week go back to the drawing board, figure out what happened. New York is the reigning, defending world champions. They've won the last two tournaments, and they're going for what I would consider a historic three-peat. If they three-peat between two different games with champs,
man, that would suck for Priesta. Holy, you drop Priesta, you still win the next tournament. Oh my god.
I mean, that's not as bad as like random, but I mean, that's not as bad as Clay getting dropped by Complexity, and then the next tournament, it was Clay on TK against Complexity with Karma in the grand finals. That was the infamous "you can never snipe like that, Clay."
True, that's
If you ever
true.
saw that video from Mr. X.
Yeah,
So this man
yeah,
Clay
yeah.
got dropped, matched up against his own team in the grand finals, and then lost. So that was, yeah. Anyway, I could talk about COD history all day.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, but either way, I'm going New York. They lost. They went 6-1. Still incredible. I still think they're the team to beat. And I think they're gonna get this bounce back win and solidify their spot in the winners finals.
All right, respectable pick. Down to losers. Oh, actually, I gotta bring these teams down. So Optic.
Yes, remember it flips, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
yeah.
You called me already. Oh my god.
Yep.
All right, New York up here.
I got you.
All right. And then wait,
Exactly.
let me just do this for you first. Let's just get this done. FaZe goes down.
Yep.
FaZe Boston. That's tough.
Pretty good.
That's tough. All right, Toronto. Okay. So, round 3, losers. New York, Miami, New York. That's it. That's it. There's no way. And then I'm just going to do mine here as well. We'll do it at the same time. Optic, Carolina. Man, yo, wait, I got Optic down here? Oh, wait. I honestly wanted to move Carolina one more match, but can they beat I mean, they almost reverse sweeped FaZe. And I know FaZe, they were testing a new map pool, which, like, I guess that's fair. You know what I mean? And Optic, no one's going to be testing anything in a Elim match. All right, let me pick Optic. Let me be...
Just do it.
Nope, just kidding. Yeah, I'm picking him. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. Optic's going to crash out. I'm going to tell you something. I'm a long-time Optic fan. You know what I mean? Like, ideally, as I'm going to be at the event, ideally, I would want to see Optic win. You know what I mean? I want to see an Optic win at some point in my lifetime. But I don't think this is their event. I think right now it's just they're not fully there. They don't have the full teamwork ready. They have a lot of potential. It's possible later on down the line. But right now, I feel like it's possible that Carolina pulls out, I mean... It would have to be like game 5, round 11, and then like TJ has just an S&D masterclass, like 1v3 round 11, you know, for the win. Like it's gonna be something like that if they win, but I'm gonna have them going through because I don't think it's the end. Also, the reverse sweep, Aches had Optic getting out top 12 and losing to Vegas in Elam round 1. Like it's, you know, so it's not
upsets happen, man.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
I love that pick. I love that pick, even though
not likely.
I don't have the same pick.
Yeah, but...
Well, I mean, I think you have some fair points, though, about it could be considered a revenge series. You're talking Clay and TJ, 2 former Optic members at one point in time. So, you know, Clay might be thinking about being on Optic 9 years ago and wants a little redemption against them.
What is that, 2 top 6?
I don't even have...
Yeah, Optic loves getting top 6, too. I mean, Optic, you know, at champs, they love getting top 3. At normal events, they like getting top 6. At least from my memory. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh man. All right.
I already got.
So yeah, So for me, let's see. We got Ultra versus Heretic. So this is gonna be a banger of a match if this happens in the losers bracket. First, I'm just gonna go Toronto Ultra. I think
banger DoorDash challenge. What do you mean banger? Banger like the DoorDash driver delivers the food in record time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not sleeping on this Miami team.
No, I'm not.
This would be. I think in terms of teamwork, these are 2 of the best teams going at each other. I mean, not the 2 best, but 2 of the best. I think this would be a close series, but you know, there's also history with Scrap and Vehicle, so it'd be really cool seeing them match up with a lot of stakes on the line. I mean, they did last year, but just another year of them competing against each other is awesome. But yeah, we're going Toronto Ultra. They're just looking like one of the best teams in the league. There's no doubt about that. And
FaZe Boston.
We got Boston. Yeah, Boston versus FaZe. So this is a matchup we've seen at many lands before. Boston fans on my timeline are always talking about why do we keep matching up against FaZe in tournaments? Because it was actually looking like Boston was going to be the 8th seed of this tournament. So FaZe versus Boston was, a lot of people thought that was going to be the first round matchup, but then LAG squeaked into that 8th seed.
Yeah.
But according to my bracket, Breach and FaZe will find going against each other again. and I got FaZe winning. I mean, it's weird even seeing them in the losers bracket this early. Obviously, I picked Optic before them, but we got FaZe beating the Breach. I mean, they're just looking incredible. Breach, they're going to have a respectable losers bracket run. I think they're going to gain a lot of respect, enter that top 6 team conversation, but you're matching up against FaZe. FaZe is going to take him down.
Okay, and let's just do this losers. What is this, round 4? New York, Carolina. I mean, this let's end it here for Carolina. If they get, this is top 4, that would be beautiful. That's enough. I think that's fair for them. You got a lot more points now actually for the higher placings, right? So that really boosts their standing too, top 4. But I can't see New York losing this. Carolina's barely beating Optic. New York is going to be probably feeling pretty good after Miami. I don't know. There's no way they don't win this year. But again, it's LAN. New York, last year they did well. They won Major 5 champs. But other tournaments, I mean, they got top 12 or top 8 Major 2, top 12 Major 3. Like they have a history of not playing consistent on LAN and just losing their matches. And it's, look, they're a really, really good team, top 4, but it's not impossible for them to just crash out and lose to Carolina, which would be definitely kind of embarrassing for them, but not likely.
Yeah,
not likely.
We all want to see this. We all want to see this Carolina run. I love how you're pushing that narrative. I love that. But all right, so my losers bracket, what is this, round 4? Ultra versus FaZe.
Yeah.
What a banger.
That's a finals match right there. I mean,
yeah, so as you see too, my final 4 teams remaining are the top 4 teams. I know that's the safe choice. That's kind of lame, and that's probably not how it's going to turn out because we know how COD is. The top 4 teams usually aren't the top 4 placers. There will always be upsets. So just looking at this now, I'm like, oh shit, I probably messed up this bracket somewhere.
Yeah, but you just can't pick a different team when the top 4 teams exist.
I'm making this bracket from the perspective of the CDL script writers with their pen on fire. If we get this top 4, we're gonna get 3 banger actually, we're gonna get 4 banger series.
True.
Back to back to back to back if this happens. So I mean, Ultra versus FaZe, so freaking tough to pick. It could really go either way. I'm gonna give FaZe the edge here.
Really?
Again, I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, I'm gonna
most
go FaZe.
recently on LAN at champs.
Listen,
Toronto smoked FaZe. So
well, that's the thing, and they made a change. They added Hixie and FaZe added Draza, and now we're playing a different game with 150 health. I think FaZe is looking better than they did last year. I do think Toronto's also looking better than they did last year. But
FaZe is a high health type of team.
Even Scrappy himself has given FaZe credit. He says he's the best. They're the best team in the game, or he said Toronto's the best team in the game. But he wants to show respect to FaZe as well. Yeah. So I mean, he knows this is a league competition here. I hope we get this matchup. I think it'll be a very close one. But I got FaZe.
Okay, so we'll do winners finals. I got your same. Wait. That was your Elam round 4? Damn, that's my winners finals here. Okay. FaZe, Toronto. This could just go either way. I'm just going to say Toronto. Just because, I don't know. I honestly don't have a reason. Like, I just kind of want to see Toronto in the finals. I feel like FaZe, they could easily win. They're probably the best team. But Toronto's the second best team. And FaZe, historically, not the best on Sundays. Sometimes you have that event where they win, and they've won a lot during Cold War. They won Major 2 in Boston at the same venue last year, so they could run it back again. But I feel like Toronto, when it comes down to it, I was going to say they're more of a balanced team, but not really. They're both FaZe and Toronto are super, super like consistent, well-balanced, and FaZe probably more. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should put FaZe in the finals, but I'm going to put Toronto. I feel like it's going to, I feel like Scrappy. Scrappy's going to turn up and get the dub there. Should be close. But yeah, I got Toronto.
All right. So let's see. I mean, I got Optic versus Subliners as my winners finals match. I mean, if yours happens, that would be a banger. If mine happens, that would be a banger. Optic versus Subliners. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I'm gonna pick the Subliners with this one. Even though I have Optic having an incredible start to this tournament, I'm just so freaking high on New York making this run. I think besides a shaky last week, they were dominating games or they were winning pretty handedly in certain series where Ib wasn't playing well, said he was dealing with an injury. So they've already been dealing with adversity.
Injury
and they were still
cheese.
getting win after win after win. Yeah, some injury cheese, which that's a whole different topic. I mean, we're seeing that all over the place now with Illy and then Sib talking about it this year and
Yeah.
players getting insurance on their hands. Like,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
that's a very real thing, dude. Like, I mean, and as they should, but either way, so there's like injuries in competitive COD now that you actually need to track and performance depends on it.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Optic versus Subliners, I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be Sib versus Pred. That's going to be exciting as
Oh,
hell.
that's true as well. Yeah.
But I have the Subliners taking the victory there.
And last time, Sib did smoke Optic in that 1v3 on not Fortress. What's that map? Mercado S&D to knock them out of champs. Ah, that was tough.
Oh yeah,
That was tough. And wait, and then New York also knocked them down to losers in champs, which Optic should have won. I mean, that would have went to a game 5. Maybe they shouldn't have won, but they should have at least went to a game 5. Optic was going to win that hard point on the swimmy map, Hydro. But interesting matchup here. Respectable pick. Let me actually pull. You got Optic loser finals. Okay. New York FaZe. My loser finals here. Man, I don't know. New York, all 3 of their wins last year. What was the similarity, Brian? Do you know? I know you know. I'm pretty sure all 3 of their wins were like this.
Was it? I don't even know. Was it a map 5?
Nah, they came through losers. They came through losers to win. All 3 times, right? Yeah, all 3 times. Major 1, losers. Major 5, champs.
Hey man, I think your memory is a lot better than mine. To be honest.
Yeah. So
I love this shit, but I don't even remember exactly that.
So, but that being said, man, I don't know. FaZe, nowadays they love getting top 3 too. I mean, this is a new team, so you never know. I'm gonna take New York to the finals. I'm gonna have a champs finals rematch here. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like New York could turn up that last match. I don't know what it is. FaZe, unless they prove me wrong. Not that they want to prove me wrong. They don't really care about what I think probably. But like, you know, Sundays, they just haven't always been on their A game. So if that trend continues, which you still have 3 of the same players from the previous team. So Draws is new, but those 3 same players, you know, they may still think in their head, oh, Sunday I got to show up. I got to actually play really well today. So they might still be thinking about that, and New York might capitalize on that. I don't know. Again, close match. FaZe could easily win. This is the top 4 we're talking about here. Anything could happen, but I'm going to bring New York to the finals. This is another... Actually, I think losers rematch too. This was champs loser finals as well. New York FaZe, right? And then, yeah, New York went to the finals there. So,
yeah, exactly.
That's what we got.
All right. So with me, we got E Classico, Optic versus FaZe in the losers finals. This would be the second time they match up this tournament according to my brackets. The first time I had Optic winning. So, of course, I could cheese it and say, well, then FaZe will bounce back and win. But I'm going to stay consistent with the picks. I think if Optic beat them in their first matchup, I think they'll beat them in their second matchup as well. I got Optic beating FaZe. This is going to be a grueler. It's going to be, it's funny. For the last 2 years, we've gone into Optic FaZe series expecting Optic to win. The 2 years before that, we were expecting FaZe to win. So we've sort of had this reversal, that started in Vanguard carried over into the last game. Now FaZe won their first matchup against Optic this year, but still, man, I mean, this is really 50-50 at the end of the day. But I think this Optic team was, again, they were built to make it to the championship. So was FaZe. But I think Optic's going to win some pretty big matches with the crowd behind them. I think we're going to get an Optic versus New York grand finals.
All right. Grand finals here. Toronto, New York, rematch of champs. Scrappy said on stream, I think it was on stream, that if they replayed that MW2 champs final back 9 times out of 10, or was it 99 times out of 100, whatever it was, they win that series. And I don't know if I fully believe him, but I think Toronto will get their revenge and win. And I actually saw, I think it's still best of 7. We talked about earlier if it was best of 9. The finals is a best of 7.
Oh, it's best of 7? All right.
Yeah, which I don't really understand why it's still best of 7, but it is what it is. I got it close 4-3, but yeah, Toronto should win this year. Again, top 4, anything could happen, but I think Toronto, they don't want to lose in a finals again. You know what I mean? They just don't. So, and I think they're pretty set up to win this event here.
All right. Yeah, I love that choice. So with me, let's see, we got New York versus Optic in the grand finals. If this happens, I mean, we'd have 200K viewers for sure. So for the sake of the league, this would be fantastic. Yeah, it'd be unreal. But
so don't tell me you got Optic losing. Don't tell me you're gonna do that to the fans.
You know,
no, it's not good. Yeah, everyone, click off, guys. The video's over. You're not gonna hear some good.
Listen, man, I gotta do it, and I know. And listen, I want to drop a little Optic fact because I've mentioned it on Twitter before. For those who don't know, every time Optic has picked up a new duo, they've made it to the grand finals of that first tournament. It happened with Crim Informal in AW. It then happened with TJ and Dashy in Black Ops 4. And then it happened again with Shotzi and Illy in Vanguard, where they rather placed second or won the whole damn thing. So I do have that streak continuing. I think history repeats itself a lot, especially in competitive COD. So I could truly see a scenario where Optic make the grand finals here. And there absolutely is a scenario where they win. But I mean, I don't know if I've made my point clear enough in this video how high I am on New York despite their shaky week. I think they'll go into this grand finals against Optic. It's crushing though, because I am now saying Optic's gonna have lost their last 3 grand finals. They lost 2 last year, and then I have them losing this one. I still think top 2 is an incredible placement. I know the players probably think you rather win or it's a complete fail, but I truly see value in even making a grand finals or even placing top 3 or top 4. I mean, being one of the best performing teams of the weekend, I don't think is anything to be sad about, really, besides you're just going to have to improve on a couple aspects of your game and get the ball rolling for stage 2. So I see Optic doing incredible this weekend, but I just see New York being even more incredible. I think I was so high on this team at the end of last year. With Priesta, they have upgraded, in my opinion, even though Priesta is a borderline Hall of Fame, probably a Hall of Fame player. Sib, in his current form,
he just has more takeover potential. It is what it is, you know? He could really go off if he wants to. Priesta can, but Sib is just more likely to. You know?
Yeah.
I get it.
That consistency, it really, is what sets them apart. Where Priesta, maybe at his absolute best, he is a better takeover player than even Sib, but at like a flatline base level, I'm taking Sib over Priesta. So what I'm trying to say is this New York team won champs and got even better, and then they almost went 7-0 in the first stage. They went 6-1. So I'm still extremely high on this New York team. I think they're gonna win. They're gonna three-peat. It'll be the first three-peat in competitive Call of Duty since Optic did it in Black Ops 3. So it'll be almost 8 years in the making. And that's how I see this. And then ironically, they'll be doing it against Optics. So that's what I have. Again, I'm not on the CDL script writing team.
That's a
So I don't
heartbreaker
know how.
script. So
Yeah,
we'll
so I
see.
don't know. I don't know what the writing rooms are looking like over in Activision when they're chefing up this tournament. But if I had a hand in how this is gonna go, I mean, I'd love to see this grand finals. I mean, there's a whole lot of banger matches on the screen here. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be an incredible tournament overall. And I mean, yeah, you have incredible matches too, but you have Ultra beating New York. I got New York beating Optics. So I mean, let's see, man.
Also, just because again, there's always upsets, and the top four may not be the actual top four at the event. So, if you had to pick one team for the sleeper, just crazy underdog run to upset the top four, who would that team be? I feel like I know my pick.
Yeah, so if I had to pick like a sleeper team, and it's almost tough to even describe Miami as a sleeper team
I
because
was
I
gonna say
feel like
Miami.
they've kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, that works. I mean, if you're saying outside of the top four,
Yeah, I mean,
Miami is probably
yeah,
where it's at.
any team that that's outside the top four that beats the top four, I feel like that's an upset. I feel like you're going into this event thinking like, oh, this top four, the skill gap is so wide, they gotta place top four. It makes the most sense, but that doesn't always happen. And I feel like the one team to potentially break, like for my bracket here, could Miami beat New York? Probably. It's entirely possible. And then maybe Optic could beat Carolina. That makes a bit more sense there, but it is what it is. But Miami could make that run to top four, 100%. And
Yeah.
for your bracket,
No, I love
man,
that
I don't know if
pick.
Miami's going to beat Toronto, though. The problem is, I feel like Miami could beat New York. That's more likely than Miami beating Toronto. But you got Toronto out
that's
top
fair.
four. So we'll see. It depends. But you have Miami too?
No, well,
As a
yeah, we'll
sleeper?
see. Because like I said, I mean, I have this top four really maintaining their spot at top
Yeah,
four,
yeah.
not really seeing an upset. But as you can see with my bracket, though, I do have the breach making a little losers bracket. So
That's
I do
true.
think
That's respectable.
so I do think there's going to be a conversation around the breach that unfortunately they started in the losers bracket, but I think they're going to make the most of it, place top six, continue to be a top six team. They should really, I would guess, start in the winners bracket next tournament. But that just didn't happen this time around. So
Yeah.
I would say outside the top four, of course, Miami, like that's a great pick. And I agree with that. I think they have upset potential. But just to give a different answer, I got to throw Boston in there as well. Not just for that hometown cheese,
Yeah.
but I love their sub duo. I love their veteran duo. And I just really like how this team's built. They just haven't performed up to their own expectations yet. So, and that's why they're starting in the losers. So, let's go.
And
Let's
if
go, Boston. Come on, give the fans something.
If
I
Boston
wanna
beats
watch
FaZe
Boston play a
too,
couple series.
that'd be wild. That'd be a crazy win.
I mean, and no, yeah. I mean, that would be crazy. That would be like a slasher revenge game against this
Oh,
former team
true,
from the
true.
past
I'm
year.
forgetting about these matchups. Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, that would be awesome. I'd love to see Breach FaZe in an elimination match. Although
Slasher's tight, bro. His team's 2-6, right? Or not 2-6, whatever. 1-6, or no? Are they 2-5? Did they win 2 matches?
yeah, 2-5.
2-5.
Yeah,
All right, they're two.
they-
Regardless, he's like, oh, my old team 7-0. Like, oh my god, I wish I was still on there. Like, he's thinking that, like. But
Oh, for sure.
he probably
I mean,
likes his
I think
team. He
it's-
probably wants to make it work.
I think it's like that Clayster mentality as well. I mean, we talk about. I love revenge games for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
ASIM is great in revenge games. Clayster's great in revenge games. Accuracy is great in revenge games. So is Slasher, and it's unfortunate that this is the toughest revenge game he'll ever encounter, going against the Atlanta FaZe God Squad.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't count the man out. He's one of the winningest players for a reason. So yeah, I mean, in terms of a sleeper pick, I have Boston making a little run.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's it for the bracket. I'm trying to think of any other like last questions or thoughts or anything that might happen. It's not gonna be cold in Boston, so the players won't be cold. That's good. They're gonna be focused on the match. I know Miami, they're in Florida. They're used to that warm weather. It still will be a lot colder for them than what they're normally used to. So
Oh,
maybe
I mean, dude, yeah,
maybe
we're
they're gonna be
talking-
shivering as
we're
they're walking
talking
in. They're gonna be like, oh my
about-
god, and they just get top 12. You know what I mean? They just can't handle it. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, dude. I mean, if they can't, nah. I mean, it'll be nice and heated in the arena. I think. I don't
hopefully.
think the cold will have anything to do with, you know. I think I don't think weather plays a factor. Maybe it plays a factor on
Hey.
COD maps themselves.
Hey.
Like underpass. That freaking rain drives me nuts.
Yo, it's like
but-
dynamic weather.
yeah.
It starts raining in the map, and then it starts raining over the stage as well
Oh,
to like
yeah.
really put you in the environment. You know what I mean? Like
They should do that. Or like Vondel, like they should run some
fog
Vondel,
comes
like,
in.
resurgence and
Oh,
yeah, fog
no.
comes in, it just smoke.
It's snowing on
smoke mid-map.
sub-base.
Yeah. So
Someone smokes on the
who
other
knows,
team. You
dude?
have smoke in real life. Players
Yeah,
are coughing
dude.
and
So,
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe they'll add weather dynamics IRL. That would be unreal. But
One
yeah,
last
man.
strategy.
No, I think
I gotta mention something though. So last year in Boston, I was there with my friend, and I don't know if look. I'm gonna reveal this information because at this point, I don't think there's gonna be any officials watching this video. But my strategy is, I'm gonna bring a bag of beef jerky. Okay, and I did this last year. I'm gonna open it up, and you're gonna smell that beef jerky. It's so strong. My friend was yelling at me like, "Yo, close that bag of beef jerky. That shit stinks." You know what I mean? I was like, "Nah, I'm hungry." And what's gonna happen is the beef jerky smell is gonna rise up. It's gonna go to the stage, and all the players are gonna start coughing. It's gonna add a new element, you know what I mean, to the matches.
Yeah.
And you know, it is what
So
it
you're gonna
is.
beef
I
jerky
might do
You're gonna-
that. I
you're
might
gonna
do
be a
that.
beef jerky bomber.
I might do that to New York during that Carolina top 4 match. In Carolina, you know, they might make it through because of my beef jerky.
Dude, that's
so
maniacal.
we'll see. But,
I mean, that's just outrageous.
no.
But, yeah, they're gonna beef jerky bomb them.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
hell
it
of
should be a
time.
fun
I
event for
can't wait.
sure.
I'll be there. I'll be there as well. I'll be at the major Friday and Saturday, so I can't wait to meet so many people. I mean, gonna meet you in person,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, there's gonna be so many people. So many people I'm excited to talk to, and I mean, just really excited to watch these matches in a live environment. There's nothing better than just sitting in a group of a couple
for
thousand
sure.
people, screaming at every 2-piece and every
Sure.
crazy nade kill and every turn on. I mean, dude, this is gonna be the 3rd event I've ever been to, and those first
Same.
two, MLG Orlando 2016, Major 4 in 2022. It was just a hell of a time. So I mean, I can't wait to be back. And yeah, man, we're gonna have a hell of a time.
For sure. So again, we'll probably do another one of these for Major 2 when that bracket comes out. Maybe one in between for potential roster changes or some stuff. We'll see what happens. But hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know down below in the comment section if you want to see more of these types of CDL style videos, especially with Brian's stats as well. Check him out again. Links are down below to his Twitter. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.